Hello everybody and welcome to a special edition of our Community Access. This week we asked for our friend George White from Wojo's Garden Center to tell you to help with your plants and shrubs this fall. All today on our Community Access.
This is George here at Wojo's for this special edition of our Community Access. We're going to be talking about fall and winter preparation for your plants, and we have a myriad of ideas to share with you. The first one I want to talk about is something that's impacted us this summer, and that's watering. Watering, we're recommending that you water your plants, both the newly established plants and also existing plants, up until Thanksgiving time. We found a columnist for the Detroit News, Nancy Zerlag, wrote a column earlier this year, and she said, what do plants need? This year it's water. We went through some very, very dry spells, and we saw plants in a lot of stress. So watering is the key. Just past week, Nancy wrote that drought damage may show up in trees much later. You may not see it this season, but it may happen in a couple of years. So the notion is even established trees need additional water. I was up at Michigan State University about 3 weeks ago for a function, and I noticed along their boulevard, the main roads going through campus, they had the gator bags or the watering bags on the trees. Their trees up on campus, they were in a drought zone and didn't get much rain at all this summer, and those trees were showing it. So they were using the gator bags to provide some additional water. So we wanted to talk about watering as being critical for the plants, and that they have that to be ready to go into the winter. Another article that Nancy has talked about in the past, and it's still a critical time for oak trees. If you contact an arborist to cut down an oak tree or trim an oak tree in midsummer or even up until November, and they're willing to do it, they aren't worth their salt. Don't let them on your property. Oak wilt can impact trees from April through October. So it's important that you're careful when you do pruning of oak trees. If there's damage to an oak tree in a storm in the summertime, you want to, as quickly as possible, clear cut the branch or limb that was broken and put a sealer on it to keep the harmful insect from getting inside it. There's a little beetle that can smell a injured oak and within a matter of hours can infect the tree. So oak wilt is very, very important. Another topic that I want to talk about is scale. Scale on magnolias and on other plants, but scale many times you see as a little bump along the stem. We have products here that will help deter that. The Bear product, the tree and shrub protection and fertilizer will help with that, and also we have a dormant spray oil that we recommend using. The Bear product is good for 12 months protection to ward off the insect if it starts to infect the tree. The dormant spray oil is important to suffocate it during its time on the branch. Another thing that has been talked about is buy it where you burn it. Don't move firewood. We are still dealing with the effects of the emerald ash borer. And some people are very foolishly moving firewood that contains the ash borer into an area that they haven't had any infestation. This is how we got this in the first place. This came to Michigan on pallets from China. So it's important that we not move firewood, that you use it where you purchase it. Wherever you find it, you want to burn it at that point. You don't want to be transmitting it across the state, because you could have the emerald ash borer be alive in that wood, and before you burn it, go off and start infecting trees. So use the firewood, don't move it. I mentioned the watering. We're recommending that you water until Thanksgiving. An example that I'm using for customers that come in, and it's sad to say, we generally with these hydrangeas will get 2 or 3 of these returned a week. And it's mainly because of neglect. People don't water enough. And I ask people, do you have children? And they many times say yes. And I said, when they were infants, did you skip any watering or any feeding? And they say no. Well, these plants are living things too. So watering is critical to have them look nice. It's very disappointing to have us have return material come in here, and you can tell right off the bat that it was just neglected. And it doesn't take much. You go away on vacation or for a long weekend, hot, dry, and the plant can show effect. Another topic that we mention at this time of year is fertilizing. We normally stop fertilizing here at the nursery around August 1st, and we recommend that for our guests also. We don't want any delicate new growth to be pushed out caused by fertilizer and then be frozen with a frost. We want the plant to begin to harden up, and we don't want any new delicate growth coming on. So we ask that you not fertilize after August 1st. The next topic is broadleaf evergreens. Broadleaf evergreens, as we prepare for these for the winter time, we want to water again until Thanksgiving. There is a product called wilt proof or wilt stop that you can use on your broadleaf evergreens. And by that, I'm talking boxwoods, rhododendron, azalea, euonymus, and holly. We want those leaves to stay vital throughout the winter time. We want to keep them watered. We want to use the wilt stop or wilt proof, which helps to seal in the moisture in the leaf. And lastly, many people use burlap to help as a wind protection. Location, location, location is important for the broadleaf evergreens, generally the east side of the house. And with these 3 things doing, the watering, the wilt proof or wilt stop, and the burlap, you can have success in growing your broadleaf evergreens, and again fertilizing in the spring and summer with holly tone. We're going to wrap up this segment and move on to another topic at another time.
Welcome to American Legion in Oxford for the best fish on Fridays. That's right, from noon to 8:30. You can get the best walleye in Michigan. You can get walleye, baked cod, chicken strips, baked potatoes, and more. On the hall side of the Legion, oh, hello there, friends. You can have 12 friends on a table, any one of the best military museums in Michigan. And the dining side, oh, hello again. More comfortable with many 4-seat tables and a couple of 5-seaters. Now on Friday we usually have about 400 to 500 best friends for our fish. Carry-out? You bet. We have 50 to 60 carry-outs at the post. We have some young friends with the birthdays and some of our best seniors at the post. Oh yeah, waitresses, they go like a track waitress to get your food. If you have never enjoyed our secret's famous walleye at the Legion, come on in every Friday from noon to 8:30 at the American Legion Post 108 on 130 East Rainer Road, Oxford.
This is George here at Wojo's. Welcome back to our special edition of our Community Access. We are going to talk first of all about, as we prepare for the fall and also thinking about the spring, the topic of fertilizing. Folks want to have their hydrangeas blue, or they want to keep their acid-loving plants healthy, and we have several products that will do that. We have holly tone that will help to lower the pH, and we also have a product called soil acidifier from Bonide that can also, or from Espoma, that can be used. So if you want to keep those hydrangeas blue, the springtime would be the time to start applying that. Another product that we've had tremendous success with this season, and we want to strongly encourage our guests to use this in the future, and that is the superphosphate or triple phosphate fertilizer. This will help to boost bloom production. I personally used this at home this year on my hydrangeas and had tremendous success. Some of my colleagues at the other stores use this in the fall to top dress all of their perennial beds. And in the next summer, the plants thrive and produce flowers abundantly. So we recommend the triple phosphate or superphosphate fertilizer for that bloom production. Another thing we want to talk about now are deer. Deer are causing us issues in landscapes when the bucks are trying to rub the velvet off their antlers. That starts around August 1st and will continue until they get done with that. We have several products here that will help protect the trunks of your trees. We have a plastic tree guard, and we also have another form of a plastic tree guard for some of your smaller trees that you can put around the bark on the tree, put it on the trunk so that the deer can't have that devastating effect. Folks want to know, how do we keep deer away from their plants? We have several products that we recommend to our guests. They all work very nicely. One of them is called Plant Skid. This is a product that is a oil-blood mixture. It has a little bit of a pink color to it, so you want to be careful when you apply it so that you don't put it on an area where the pink would stain. But it works very, very effective and has a little bit longer durability. It stays on the plant longer because of the oil base. Another product that folks may be familiar with is Repelzol. This is a universal critter deterrent, and it works very nicely by mainly sense of smell and taste. And lastly, Liquid Fence. Another product that is also very effective. You have to keep up with this though. You don't just spray it once going into a season. You have to apply it when you have new growth and new tissue. The thing that I want to recommend is that you don't use one product all the time. You want to alternate those. The deer can get used to a product and it isn't as effective. So you want to switch these up. I personally use either the Repelzol and Liquid Fence in the summertime. I use the Plant Skid in the winter. This again lasts a little bit longer and works quite nicely for me. I'm getting wet. Question comes about pruning. With pruning, we find that the time to prune is at the time when after flowering. For the spring flowering plants, like your rhododendron, like your forsythia, those plants can be pruned right after flowering. The summer flowers, the hydrangeas that we have here in this beautiful display, the Rose of Sharon, and the other summer flowering plants can be pruned either late in the fall or very early spring. We're going to talk about hydrangeas. Hydrangeas, we have 5 different types, and when people come in and want to know about the care of these, can I cut them back? What do I have to do with them? We have to identify each of the types. The first type is the type called arborescens. People are familiar with the Annabelle or the Incrediball. These have the large white flower that is on the plant throughout the summer. This, with fertilization, can cause the plant to thrive and do very nicely with large flowers. This can be pruned quite heavily. You could take this down to the ground and it would come back up very nicely the next year. The next one that we have here is the oak leaf hydrangea. And you notice the plant with the oak leaf. This takes minimal pruning. We don't want to do much pruning on this because you can take flower buds away that are forming now this summer for next year. The same with the big leaf varieties. This happens to be bloom stalk. Folks will come in here and say, my bloomstruck isn't flowering. And I said, did you prune it? Yeah, I cut it all the way down to the ground. Well, wrong. You don't want to do that. You want to leave the stem up. You can cut off the flowers, but you want to wait till the next spring to see where the new growth is coming from. When you see the new leaves, the new growth coming off the stem, then you can cut down to that point. But if you take it down to the ground, you're going to remove valuable flower buds. The kind that is the easiest to grow are the paniculatas. This happens to be Firelight. We have about 8 or 9 different varieties. Most popular would be the Limelight, Little Lime, Quick Fire, Little Quick Fire. We have a whole host of these, different sizes. These are on a woody stem that has minimal dieback. And what I recommend doing is cutting off the flowers so that the weight of the snow or ice in the wintertime doesn't bend the branches down and break the stem. This is a tree form of that paniculata. With this flower remaining on the tree in the wintertime, a heavy snow would cause the branch to stretch and fall down. So with that, we recommend cutting off the flowers and saving the branch. If you cut these before a frost and they're in this beautiful color, if you hang them to dry, they make an exceptional dried flower for arrangements in the house. So that's another benefit of these paniculatas. The big leaf flowers don't preserve quite as well, but you can also use those also. The last type of hydrangea is the hydrangea vine. This likes a shady spot. It has little tentacles here on the back side that allows it to attach itself to a building. It takes 2 or 3 years to get these things established, but once they start, they can grow and cover a wall. So that's the additional kind of hydrangea we have here at Wojo's. We're going to take a break and come back soon.
Hi, I'm Lori Stevenson from Canine Stray Rescue League on this beautiful day, and I'm here to display 2 of our dogs that are up for adoption. This right here is Patsy, and she's a 1-year-old shepherd mix. She came in very scared and unsure, and she's looking for a family that can help her build confidence and feel comfortable in her own skin. She's very, very unsure of everything right now, so she's looking for someone who's very patient, but won't coddle her like I'm coddling her now. Coddling's not going to help, and do some training with her to teach her what good life is like.